More breaking news on this important story that we are tracking. Now we're getting you the inside track of how the seer was arrested. Now we are told that the seer was allegedly planning to escape to Goa and his mobile phone was also switched off. His passport wasn't found in the mutt and the police suspected that he might flee the country. Cops also started tracing the mobile tower location of his aides, and based on those very leads, was he later arrested near Haveri. This is the latest that we are bringing to you. All of this input has been brought to you by my colleague Harish. I'm cutting across to him. Yes, Harish, now that we have the inside track, of course, this is going to give some leeway in the investigation as planned.
Absolutely. What we do understand is that the Swamiji left the mutt around midnight yesterday, and the police were there this morning and they realized that he was not in the premises. They couldn't find his passport. His mobile phone was switched off. The cops then suspected that perhaps he could flee the country, and that's when they started tracing the mobile tower location of his close aides, and they initially got some leads that he was in Haveri. That's when the Chitradurga police alerted their counterparts in Haveri, and there were teams that were deployed along the highway to ensure that his convoy could be intercepted and he could be arrested. And finally, when they had a specific lead about his presence near Bankapura, that's where he's been arrested by the Haveri cops, now handed over to the Chitradurga police. He will be brought to Chitradurga very shortly. What we do understand is that the cops, after the statement was recorded of these victims yesterday, wanted to call him for questioning today, and in the meanwhile, this has happened overnight where he left the mutt premises, and the cops believe that if he indeed left the state, it would become extremely difficult for this investigation, would end up becoming a major embarrassment for the police and the state government. There was already mounting pressure, asking questions on why the police have still not summoned the Swamiji for questioning or arrested him, subjected him to a medical test, despite the fact that this was a case registered under the POXCO Act. Many drawing parallels saying that there are several such cases where the accused is arrested immediately. In this case, despite this FIR getting registered on Friday, why till Sunday evening he wasn't summoned? He was still out there and his team was preparing to apply for an anticipatory bail. And with that kind of a pressure coming in, the state government too didn't want to take chances. And finally this morning, when the police realized that he wasn't in the mutt premises and his phone was switched off, his passport wasn't found in the mutt, they suspected that this could get out of hand and finally decided to track him down and arrest him. We do understand that now he is being brought to Chitradurga, where he will be subjected to a medical test, and also the questioning will start. Also important to note here that the cops also need to track the junior pontiff, arrest him. There are 4 more accused apart from the Murugha Seer himself. The whole administration of the mutt is under scanner here. The junior pontiff, the junior seer is also an accused. The administrative person there is also an accused, and the warden is also an accused. All these people have to be questioned, and only then can we expect this case to go on a proper track.
Harish, we were hearing his lawyer earlier when I had to interrupt you when my guests were on the broadcast. What was he saying, and what is the next step that is left for Swamiji over here?
Well, that was one of the members of the legal team of the Swamiji who gave out that reaction just an hour ago before the Swamiji was officially arrested. He was suggesting that the Swamiji is not absconding, but he did acknowledge that the Swamiji had left the mutt. He wasn't in the premises. He said perhaps he stepped out for some legal consultation. He also said that the legal team was approaching the court for anticipatory bail. That's out of question now, if the police have officially taken him to custody and will show his arrest before a magistrate in a short while from now. But he was saying that the police hadn't served even the notice. Remember, that's a basic in any case, that on a Friday evening a FIR gets registered under the POXCO Act. Till Sunday night, a basic notice to appear before the investigating officer wasn't served, and they were still recording the statement, subjecting these girls to a medical test, in the meanwhile giving enough time for the accused in this case. Remember, in any such case, time is of importance for 2 reasons: to ensure that the medical test and the authenticity of it, how effective it is, and also to ensure that the evidence doesn't get destroyed. And time is of essence on both those counts. Until Sunday evening, the police hadn't even served a notice asking him to appear before the investigating officer.
Right. And, Harish, the fact that he was trying to flee over here, we are talking about a case that's registered under POXO. he trying to flee, now that we have that inside track of all the investigation that you've got for us, of course, doesn't make things look good for him. However, the government in the state continues to cry foul over his arrest.
Well, if you look at the kind of reaction that's coming in, the people within the government are very guarded. They are saying, let the investigation happen. There is a counter complaint. Let a report come out. None of them openly asking for the arrest of the accused in this case. Remember, this might be a powerful mutt over there, but we are talking about the lives of two women, two young girls who've been allegedly sexually assaulted. So the government not openly backing, saying that let the investigation happen. Second, there are deep lapses in this particular investigation. The government hasn't really countered that. They haven't said why they're taking so much time. The third aspect here is that you have the members who were initially part of the complaint that was registered in Mysuru's Nazarabad police station. They're expressing reservations, saying that the protocol isn't being followed, the rules are not being followed, the government hasn't responded yet. The party obviously thinks that there is a conspiracy here. The seer is being maligned. There is a conspiracy. The government keeping very mum. The opposition parties wanting to play it safe. So not too many out there backing the victims in this case. Finally, with the pressure mounting on the government, we've seen an arrest. Has to be seen how the investigation proceeds further, because we've seen earlier a few cases of such nature where Swamijis of powerful mutt have been involved, and the investigation and the trial did not head anywhere. In this case, it will be paramount to ensure that the investigation and the case that's filed is a watertight one, and that will stand legal scrutiny as well.
Absolutely. Harish, thank you so much. The latest that we are bringing to you, and this is coming from the state of Karnataka, and now that the seer of the Mysuru Mutt has been arrested, investigation is going on. We will continue to track all the developments which are to do with this particular story on CNN News 18. Moving on to